Following Christ rebunk exclamation mark. Stay converted man here. Part 1. His mic volume sucks. Seriously though, please turn this thing up for the love of humanity. I had to increase the volume and then increase the volume again. It's bad.
I have enough faith to be an atheist. No, don't get me wrong, I tried. Did you though? I mean, you didn't really try that hard. I bought the hoodie. There isn't an atheist hoodie. That's just silly. I followed Reddit threads. I don't know why you would do that. I even said there's no God in Richard Dawkins' accent to see how it felt. No, you didn't. Why are you lying? Why even bother with any of this? So, I mean, we know that...
Obviously, I don't walk around saying I don't have enough faith to be an atheist in Richard Dawkins' accent. You know, it's just a joke, but never mind.
I would say it doesn't sound like a joke, but I couldn't hear you, so I don't know. But why say it at all, even as a joke? It doesn't help your argument.
Less faith to have than Christianity. So whatever is the lowest amount of faith is what we'd have to be, and that would make us a skeptic. So I guess he wants us to be a skeptic, right?
No, I would need to be a Christian. So I think this is a red herring or a straw man, because my title is obviously based off this book, which he knows. It's like a hook. I don't have enough faith to be an atheist, because atheists think that we believe in God on blind faith. So I'm sort of turning it around back on him and saying that actually it requires more faith to believe that there isn't a God. So it's more reasonable to believe that there is a God. So I'm not sure why he's talking about whether or not it's good or bad.
This is neither a red herring nor a straw man. It is the central problem with this statement that you're making. It takes more faith to have this than that. That means both have faith, and it certainly does imply that faith must be bad. So you can't just say, well, this is a hook because atheists say we have faith and it's blind faith. But it takes faith to believe in God. And it takes none to not believe in God. In fact, your religion is nothing but faith. And I'll demonstrate that. To be Christian, you must believe in some of these things, because there's no hard rule for what it is to be a Christian. God, Jesus, miracles, Holy Ghost, the Trinity, heaven, hell, sin, redemption of sin, virgin birth, coming back from the dead, post-trib or pre-trib, depending. Jesus as the Son of God, both the fully divine, fully human, crucifixion of Jesus' atonement for sin, baptism, maybe in full, maybe in part, maybe it must be done, maybe it just can be done, communication and or Eucharist is a must, or maybe it's and then there's a maybe, and then there's also a final judgment. That's like 14 plus things that you have to believe, and that's a short version of a list of things that you need to believe to be a Christian. As an atheist, there's only one thing that I don't have to believe in, and that is not God, making belief for atheism zero. There is nothing I have to believe in to be an atheist. Rather, I don't believe in God. And just to hammer home the point, the word faith shows up in the Bible, depending on which version. King James, 247, New International, 458, English Standard, 378 times. The word logic doesn't appear at all. The word skeptic or skeptical, none. Atheist or atheism, zero. And the word science does appear once in the King James Version in 1 Timothy 6:20, but the word is Greek is knowledge, so they don't translate it to science and other translations. So basically, zero. So no logic, reason, science, that isn't in the Bible, but the word faith sure is. Oh, also here's Hebrews 11:6, where it says it's without faith it's impossible to please God. So there's that too.
Is the answer. No atheist that I asked said yes. They could have said anything. I don't, but no, we all said no. I think, now I have no way to prove it, but if you pulled more atheists, I would think that that would just continue upward. I don't think that there's a single atheist out there that legitimately believes the universe came from nothing. This is...
So I've just typed into ChatGPT that question, and it says that Lawrence Krauss, who's a teacher at Yale, and Stephen Hawking argued that the universe came from nothing. However, what they actually mean by nothing is a quantum vacuum.
Yes, that is correct. So that means that the statement that atheists think the universe came from nothing, or that you have to believe the universe came from nothing to be an atheist, or any combination of words thereof, is completely and totally incorrect. There is, as far as I know, not a single example of any atheist that has said that. Maybe you can find one, but that's certainly not all atheists. At best, you'd have one atheist, or maybe a handful, and I did a small survey. What did you do? Oh, you made the video without doing any research on whether atheists think the universe came from nothing or not. You just said that because it's a talking point that apologists use a lot. So, you're wrong. You could have found out that you were wrong, but you didn't do that.
Which is technically not a thing. It says here that some believe in an eternal universe, like Carl Sagan, which doesn't make sense to me. Why would a universe say... Okay, so...
The appeal to personal credulity happens when you go, wow, I don't understand it, so therefore X. Or the appeal to ignorance, where you say, I don't know, therefore X. Yeah, that you don't understand it doesn't mean that it's not comprehensible. And maybe you should research what Carl Sagan meant by those ideas. Or maybe you'd rather remain ignorant. I don't know. But yeah, an eternal universe could be a thing, even if Big Bang cosmology is correct. Look into it. It's a fun topic.
Over 95% of scientists believe that in the Big Bang, and the dark matter in the universe shows that the Big Bang is expanding at an accelerating rate, and the second law of thermodynamics states that there is not entropy in the universe.
Yes, but the second law applies once you have a universe. Where there's a very small universe, like there would have been if Big Bang cosmology is correct, or, at T1 or T0 point, we don't know. We don't know what would apply there. We'll get to this again, because you don't understand cosmology. To be fair, I don't either, but I don't pretend like I know cosmology. Please, do tell me the rest of the laws of thermodynamics, all 4 of them, and what the first number is of the first one. Oh, it's not 1, it's 0, just to let you know. Kind of cool. Well, first of all, we don't know that there was or wasn't a cause, and secondly, no, it doesn't point to a creator. It would point to a cause, and that cause would be unknown at best. You want it to point to a creator, but it doesn't. It's just what you said is a non sequitur.
Obviously, I don't have evidence that there's a creator with this argument, but the most reasonable, logical thing is that if there's a Big Bang that's accelerating, it shows that it's not accelerating and then going back in. Like I said, the energy in the universe shows that there's been one Big Bang. One Big Bang that's accelerating shows that there was a beginning. Now, a beginning requires a cause requires a causer.
I really don't like this whole cause requires a causer, or design requires a designer sort of thing. It just makes you look silly, okay? Apologists, listen to the words I am saying. Stop saying things like this. It's like reality requires a realtor. It doesn't mean anything. And no, what you said does not follow.
Just basic logic. Okay, so that's the most reasonable thing.
No, it's not reasonable because you didn't actually use logic there. You used what you thought was logic, but you didn't use logic. What you did do is copy and paste apologetic arguments that you've heard before or seen before or whatever, and the argument is bad, it's broken, it's full of fallacies. Here you didn't even bother to present a syllogism, so you failed to give an argument completely, and even if I steel-manned this, it's still a broken argument and still has logical fallacies. Learn informal logic for the love of humanity.
If something was just almost really small for a long time, why would it suddenly just explode? It doesn't make sense.
Well, there you go again with appeal to personal credulity. It doesn't make sense. Therefore, it can't be true. But that's incorrect logic. Just because you can't make sense of it doesn't mean that it can't be made sense out of.
And then, it says here, agnostic atheists, we don't know. So what he's trying to say is that my statement was an overgeneralization. I shouldn't have said that, atheists believe that something came from nothing, because it implies that all atheists believe. However, in my statement, I don't actually say all atheists. However, that's what he's implying.
Yeah, we know what you meant. We know what you meant. You said atheists, plural. Is that all atheists? Oh, you didn't say the word all. Okay, politician. I see. But you didn't say no atheists, because actually the truth is you don't have a single example of any atheist that ever said this at all. So it wouldn't be some atheists, it wouldn't be all atheists, it wouldn't be general atheists, it would actually be no atheists. So you're just wrong, but keep on backpedaling, maybe you'll get somewhere eventually.
So I take that back. Some atheists believe that something came from nothing. Some believe in the term.
Well, by some you mean none, because the two that you gave as an example that said that the universe came from nothing actually don't mean nothing, which you already said. So you don't have a single example of an atheist that's ever said this. But even if you did, that would be one example, not some examples. So, no. And also, you said that atheists believe this, and that's wrong. And you're now walking this back. You're now saying you withdraw that statement. Cool, but why did you make it in the first place?
And some believe, or some say they don't know, and that's on ChatGPT, and you can type that in yourself.
ChatGPT is a great tool, but you shouldn't ask it stuff like this and just take it at face value, because it can be wrong. I don't know, it's just an idea. Why not ask atheists what they believe in regards to the origin of the universe? Just ask them. And then listen to them. Don't debate them on it. Just accept what they said. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to agree with it. But just go, okay, now I know what they think. And then, write it down somewhere or something.
I don't know what nothing would be, and nothing wouldn't be a thing. Nothing is so not a thing that it can't be a thing. So there was no nothing, there is no nothing, and the only nothing that is the idea of nothing, which is still a thing, so it's not really nothing.
Okay, in that statement, he said, I don't really know, but then there is no nothing. And so basically he's making a mixture of truth claims, but then the truth claim is that I don't really know at the same time. So he's sort of contradicting himself in one sentence.
These are clearly two separate ideas that you think are a single idea, I guess, because you are the one tying the concept of nothing to the universe. I am not doing that. In regards to universe, I say, I don't know. Don't know. Don't know how it came from, if it came from. I don't know. I have no idea. That's cosmology. I'm not a cosmologist. I have no idea. Now, on the topic of the concept nothing, I have ideas about that concept that are philosophical in nature, because they'd have to be, because I have no example of nothing. I just have the idea of nothing to examine and talk about. These are separate things. No contradiction is present here.
Part one, atheism is a belief system. It isn't But then he says atheists say they don't
But he just said, I don't believe in that. And then he's just said atheism is not a belief system.
believe in anything.
Yes, atheism is not a belief system. I don't believe in that in reference to what you said that atheists believe. Mainly that we believe the universe came from nothing. I do not believe that. And that is not a belief. That is a lack of belief.
You believe in God? If you say no, you're an atheist. That's it. So that's as far
Okay, my argument to that is, therefore then, as a Christian, all you have to believe to be a Christian is that Jesus rose from the dead.
Do you, though? Is that really the only thing you have to believe to be a Christian? Just Jesus rose from the dead. That's it. I mean, you don't have to believe in God. You don't have to believe in sin. You don't have to believe in the redemption of sin. Just Jesus came back from the dead. Okay, cool. Yeah, you know, Jesus came back from the dead. No reason, no magic, no miracle. Just he did. There isn't necessarily a God or a heaven or sin. Jesus didn't die for sins. He just did die, and then he came back from the dead. He didn't necessarily rise to heaven. You don't have to believe that, or the Holy Spirit. None of that. Just that Jesus came back from the dead. Nothing else. That makes perfect sense.
Which means that all these other things that you press us on, for example, you know, things in the Old Testament, then I don't have to answer them because as a Christian, all I have to believe in is that Jesus rose from the dead.
I don't know that I pressed you on Old Testament things, but the New Testament isn't any better. But yeah, this is just not true though. You have to believe a lot of things to be a Christian, not just that Jesus came back from the dead. There are more things to believe in. I guess technically you could be a Christian and just follow Christ. Again, there is no real way to say what a Christian is, unless you want to do the no true Scotsman fallacy. So what is it to be a Christian? Well, depends which Christian you ask. Different Christians will give you different answers. Different denominations exist. The Catholic Church versus the Protestant Church. Which one of those is right? I don't know. That is a you problem, not a me problem. And if you want to discard the Old Testament, then there is no sin. And Jesus saying things about the Old Testament doesn't matter. And what did Jesus die for? Doesn't matter. He died and came back, and that's it. That's all that matters. No other message. So the Bible could be Jesus died and came back from the dead. And that's the entire Bible. Why have anything else then? Is that really your belief system? I don't think so. Come on.
Remove that from any belief system as I think you can get. Do you believe in leprechauns? No. Guess what? You're an a-leprechaunist. It's not really a thing because there's not a need for it, but yeah, you would be an a-leprechaunist. Do you believe in goblins, ogres, or dragons? No? Well, then you're a goblinist, a ogress, and an a dragonist.
See, this is a common thing that atheists do. Now, I don't think he's doing it intentionally, but like often atheists will sort of start mocking and they'll start talking about fairies and pixies and whatever.
No, I'm not mocking you or your beliefs, although I could mock your beliefs. I'm not going to mock you, the person. I am going to attack your ideas, though. Goblins, ogres, and dragons. If you don't believe that they exist, you are an a-goblinist, a-ogress, a-dragonist. I am explaining what atheist means, because you got it so super wrong in this video. That's all I'm doing. Now, are those things equivalent to God? For me, they are, but not for you. You hold God in a different way than you hold beliefs about things that you don't believe in. It's silly to believe in the fae folk or fairies, but some people do. Not a lot, but there are a few that do believe in the fae folk, and they still tell stories. You know, somebody got lost when it was really foggy, and they never came back. That was the fae folk. Well, they probably, got killed somewhere in the woods or something, I don't know, and fell down a well or fell off a cliff or goodness knows what else is in Ireland and or Scotland where these beliefs prevail. But you don't believe in that. Neither do I. It's not an insult, and if you feel like it is, you might want to develop some thicker skin, because this is the internet where religion comes to die.
And what it is it's an attempt, because they can't answer valid questions. What they'll do instead is just mock. But I don't think he's actually intending to mock me. He's actually being reasonably respectful. Anyway.
Now look, if I wanted to mock you, I'd put this lobster on my head, and then put it in my mouth, and look over to the left, and do this little face expression here, and look confused. Now, how is that mocking you, you might ask? Good question. Don't know. Anyways, but nah, I attack the ideas, not the person. But yeah, God is equivalent to goblins, ogres, and dragons. It is. To me. But not to you. But I don't have any respect for the idea of God. So, yeah, I'll mock it all I want. Haha, God. Silly. God had sex with his own mom. That's funny. Whatever. But I'm not going to mock you, the person. I don't know you. I'll mock your audio. Your audio sucks. What's wrong with your audio? Fix your audio! Yeah, I already complained about that, but I'm not going to not complain. Hey, web expert, I said the thing! Don't worry about what that was about. It's an inside joke. You know what? I'll just remove that from this video later.
Regarding the universe, I hold no beliefs about that. I look to science to...
That's not simply not true. He'll say, I have no beliefs in that, but then he will, like, atheists will then always say all these factual statements.
Oh no, not factual statements. Anything but factual statements. Oh, those pesky atheists always saying factual statements after they clarify that they don't believe in stuff. Ah, man. It's almost like facts and belief are two different things. Nah, that couldn't be it at all. See, when I have a fact, I do not need faith. On the contrary, if you have faith, you don't necessarily need or care about the facts because you have a belief that substitute for whatever the facts are. Also, I don't know, but I can know what it is not. So I don't know what 45 to the power of 77 is, but I know it's not 0. And I know it's not a number that's going to be less than 45. So I don't have to know the answer to know what the answer isn't. And if your answer is an undemonstrated idea, that's not an answer.
And that's fine. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with not knowing. I don't know is my answer. How'd the universe get here? Don't know. No idea. So that means I don't have a belief regarding the universe, since I have no idea how it came to be or why it is. But whatever.
But I disagree, because he doesn't believe in God, so he does have a belief.
How is a non-belief a belief in your view? I don't believe in goblins is now a belief that I don't believe in goblins? How does that work?
You know, he literally says, I don't believe in God, so therefore he does have a belief about the universe. The fact that the universe was not made by God, so he does have a belief.
So you think I believe the universe was made by not God. To clarify, I don't know in regards to the universe. I said this many times. No idea. That I don't know also includes God being a thing that could be universe making of the. That sentence didn't come out. Why did I put that on the screen? Leaving it there. It's funny. Just because I don't believe in God does not mean that I hold the idea that God did not make the universe, because I hold no ideas about the universe in that sense. I don't know does not equal God didn't do it. And rather than assume that you know what I think, feel, and believe, why not just ask me? And then after you ask me, and I tell you my answer, accept my answer. You don't have to believe my answer, you don't have to agree with it, but accept that it's my answer.
Well, I don't know. But I don't need to know what the answer is to know what the answer is not. And so I like to do I don't know what 1,000,000 to the power of 72 is. No idea. Maybe you know off the top of your...
Yeah, but that doesn't make sense because he's saying I don't have to know what is to know what is not, but he's still saying that it's not God. So he's what he's doing, he's taken away the possibility of God being what is.
Okay. I'm explaining an idea and concept that I think is very important for people to understand. In that we don't have to know what the answer is to know what the answer isn't. And I'm giving the example of, 45 to the power of 1,000 or whatever the heck I said. I'm not saying that it isn't God necessarily, but I am saying that we could know that it wasn't God depending on what God is proposed to be. So if God is a logical paradox, then God can't be the answer to anything ever, because a logical paradox is not possible due to the nature of reality as we understand it. Now, someone might say, well, but God is a logical paradox, and that's cool. Good luck figuring that out. I don't even know what I would do with that. I'd probably just walk away and be like, well, there goes logic and reason, I guess. Because you can't do anything if logic is off the table. But that's kind of the problem with the word God. I don't even know what it is. And when you tell me what God is, then I can tell you if that's not the answer, or if it could be the answer. So depending on your version of God, it could be an answer, but only if that God aligns with the reality that we know about for sure, and if it doesn't, then it can't be the answer. Ever.
In regard...
No, but again, he's using semantics. He's playing around with words, like avoiding the subject. Like in this particular case, well, we're literally talking about a creator.
Well, welcome to Whose God Is It Anyway, where the God is made up and the logical fallacies matter. That's right, if you have one or more logical fallacies, we have to be skeptical of your conclusion. See, I'm a skeptic, so I don't know what God is. You have a particular belief in a particular version of God, so use God's name. He's got plenty to pick from. Yahweh, the mountain volcano God, or the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, El Shaddai, Elam, Jehovah. There's some other ones out there. Oh, Elam, Abba, Father. I don't know. You could say Alpha and Omega. These things are a little bit clearer for the version of God that you're going for. Or Christ. You could have just said Jesus. But the bog standard God could be anything. How am I supposed to know you're talking about Yahweh?
So he's like saying, well, what, he's effectively saying, well, we don't even know what do you mean by God, but, in this particular case, it's pretty obvious what I mean. It means like a creator.
In your original script, you use the word creator to say, ironically, it takes more faith to believe in nothing than a creator. Then it's just bog standard God. I haven't gotten to the part where you made it clear that you're talking about the Judeo-Christian God. So I'm free to complain about the fact that God is ambiguous as far as words go, and it does not yet warrant you rebuttaling me with saying that I'm talking about this version of God because you have not yet made that clear. If you wanted that clear at the start, then you should have made it clear at the start.
I cannot then therefore conclude that means not God or God, either way. So we have to leave that out of the equation.
Yeah, but he said that, but then literally 5 minutes ago he says to be an atheist you just have to not believe in God.
Okay, earlier in the video I already covered this, so we could just pretend that I say all that again. I guess I could try to reframe it. I don't believe in God is not the same as I believe there is no God. And I fall into the category of I don't believe in God, not that I believe that there is no God, which is different. Secondly, in regards to universe, I don't know, that includes God too, because as far as I know, God is unknown. So I throw that into the pile of I don't knows with all the other I don't knows that exist in that pile. Anybody, but I'm talking about a creator God. Okay, cool. I'll move it to a creator pile of I don't knows, but it's still in the I don't knows until you prove that it is a thing at all. Alright? So I don't have a positive belief. I have a lack of a belief. And in regards to universe, God could be that thing that explains it. That's possible, I suppose, but I don't believe that, and I have no beliefs regarding what God is either.
To not believe in God. You don't need to believe in anything about anything else at all. Period. End of story. But he wouldn't have a script if he didn't lie. Now
I'm not lying though. That's the thing. I'm not lying. Like I'm literally just using common sense and logic.
Well, there's no such thing as common sense, and there was no logic used, and or maybe you're just extraordinarily ignorant when it comes to the word atheist. So now, after my first video and this video, I have sufficiently explained the word atheist to you. So you are wrong about the word atheist. Either you're lying or you're ignorant. But now I've told you that you're wrong. So you now know what the word is and isn't. So if you keep being wrong, we have to call you a liar.
he goes on and says life came from non-life. Well, this is not a belief. This is a conclusion based on evidence. So this is not a belief.
See, again, semantics. He's just playing around with words, but he's refusing to answer the question. You know, the question here is, like, I'm saying that that it's impossible to have life come from non-life without God.
Okay, so now I have to explain why he's wrong about what he's wrong. Greetings, friends. Have you felt lost and alone? Have you wondered why anything exists and you're not sure where to turn to? Well, I have good news for you. The Lobsterist is free on the internet for all to read and flip through its beloved clawed pages. Yes, encounter the wisdom of the lobster original deity, all hail Laud. Yes, you can know that lobsterism is the way and the truth and the only real book that is of any significance at all, and all you have to do is read it. And if you don't want to read it, or maybe you can't read it, you can also listen to the almighty Pope of Lobsterism, Captive Desk, who read the entire Lobsterist for your benefit on the mightiest of day, April 1st. Yes, you too can become a Lobsterist. It is free. All it costs is your non-existent soul and a belief in some nonsense. But you are free to believe in the lobster god. The only real God says it in the book. No one has debunked the lobsterist, not even one. Oh, I've told people to debunk it, but nobody ever has. Nobody's taken it seriously. But it's the real, for real religion, and you too can be part. And the mitigations of the complications are the infiltrations of the subdeletions, and you know, that's why there's no time within time. Alright, so I got a little sidetracked there. But we'll pick up in part 2 of however many it takes me to rebuttal everything that this guy has said about my debunking of his video, which was correct in every way single possible that there is to be correct of. So anyways, I'll see you next time. Well, I won't see you. You'll see me. You might see me or a picture of me. But technically, you'll be seeing a past me. But you'll do that next time in the next video. Until then, be skeptical. And if you're not skeptical yet, become skeptical. Because people can lie and they can be wrong. I might be wrong or lying, but I don't lie and I'm not wrong. I'm always right every time, in every instance, and with... What? What's that? What do you mean? No, I didn't. No, I fixed that earlier. No, I didn't leave anything in the video that shouldn't be there. What are you talking about? There was some weird ad break? No, there wasn't. You're insane. At any rate, until next time, I'm a lobster. Wait, what? So, like, there's a part of the video where I'm like, I just said all that stuff that I already said. So I could just play that part again, or I could try to re-explain it in a different way. And I re-recorded that like 20 different takes in 20 different ways. And I didn't keep a single one. They're all gone, so you don't get to hear them. But I think it was something like the past me said this thing where, like, it was not the future me, that's the now me that you're hearing, which is now the past me, because the past me is on YouTube, but not the past me. And I think when I started to unravel, because I was trying to explain which version of me I was talking about, because I wasn't talking about the me that you're hearing now. I was talking about the me that's in the video, that the original video, that's a response to his video, that now he's responding to that video. That's the past me. But not this past me that's the future me is listening to on YouTube to make sure everything got okay. And then I was like, here's how that works. And I took all that out of the video because it just didn't make any sense. So you don't get to hear any of it. Wait, except you did, because I explained. I guess you do get to hear it, but it's a new version of whatever I said last time, which I don't even remember anymore. But that's a past me problem.
Anyway.